Very exciting.
We're recording.
Is it your first? Oh, oh, you're a veteran.
That's why I'm like, they'll be fine.
We're recording.
Meeting, please come to order. Susie, please call the roll.
Commissioner Levine, McLean Hill, Berard, and Reyes present.
This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I have no opening remarks. We've got numerous public comment speakers. I'd like to just move the management report up to, I think we have a lot of staff here who, as much as they would be interested in the public comment, I think would prefer to get back to work. So I'm going to ask Marty to present the one report we have, and then we'll go to public comment.
Thank you. Lee Malat from our Society of Women Engineers group will meet me at the table there. So.
They're in uniform.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a good news short presentation this morning. We wanted to bring you up to speed on the latest with the Society of Women Engineers. You know, we started a chapter here about a year ago.
Yes,
right. So, Lee, would you like to introduce yourself and tell them where you work?
Leah Mulat. I am the current Society of Women Engineer president. I know we've been coming here a few times in the past, introducing our accomplishment in the last year and a half. So thank you for having us today to talk to you a little bit about what we've done last week or so.
So I just wanted to update the board. 2 weeks ago, the national convention was held in Anaheim. And so we had a very, very strong presence in the convention. About 65 folks from Water and Power participated in that. We had a number of folks that helped with the tour. We sponsored a tour that a bus of engineers came up from Anaheim to tour our Truesdale facility, as well as the LA filter plant and the UV plant and see the 96 million shade balls in LA Reservoir. Most of those folks were actually from out of state, so it was a great exposure to Los Angeles for them. We had 11 speakers speak on 5 different topics at the conference, including Deputy Mayor Barbara Romero also spoke at the conference on behalf of the department and the city's accomplishments. We had 10 folks that worked in the career fair, including HR engineers and our virtual reality staff. We had a number of employees who attended the conference as participants, and then, as we had told you before, Reiko Kerr was honored as a Spark Award recipient for her work in mentoring women engineers, and so she actually received her award. I think we announced it a few meetings ago. She actually received her award at that banquet on the last night. And unfortunately, Reiko is actually back east with Andy right now at a power cybersecurity seminar, so they're catching up on that. So the LA Water Power SWE worked with community affairs, human resources, recruiting, our marketing group, and our facility staff, both from Water and Power, to make sure that we had a strong presence and it was a great success. Interestingly, in 2023, that conference will be here in Los Angeles, and so we hope to have a even stronger presence here and more membership, and really be able to show off this utility and what the city's all about. So Reggie's going to roll a quick video, and then we just want to show you some pictures from the conference.
Attending We19 will help me live a better life as a woman in engineering through the experience of being surrounded by thousands of women thriving in their engineering careers. This is not just empowering, it is inspiring, and I encourage everyone to join us in Anaheim to experience it for yourself.
And then there's some pictures then to show you about from the conference and all the activities that took place on that day.
And here they go.
So LADWP's presence, the picture you see here is our assistant director of water operations that was selected to be one of the faces of We 19 conference. And about 30 of our employees were sponsored to attend this conference. As you can see there, they were both there on both days were present from water, power, and joint. The tour was on Thursday morning. We had about 40 attendees from the conference signed up for this. Some of them were very excited to attend this because they've seen the shade bowls and all that went viral, and they wanted to be there and witness that in person, and they were able to attend that. The Truesdale facility tour took place, and they also went to the LA aqua filtration plant. Marty was giving the tour for that facility, and our also an engineer, Jennifer Barrick, was also there giving the tour as well. And at the conference, there were this conference staffed 16,000 attendees, and there were about 324 exhibitors present. And our booth was staffed by 4 of our engineers and HR representatives, as well as virtual reality technicians as well. And we had about 500 plus visitors coming to our booth on both days, being introduced to LADWP. We had conducted 55 on-site interviews on that date, and also out of that, we were able to give same-day job offer to a few. But as you can see here, there was a lot of interactions were happening, introducing what LADWP does and what we can offer to mostly the attendees and participants that were there to visit our booth were women engineers, and we introduced our company over to them. And the virtual reality was something new that we brought up to the recruitment front, and Power System was working hard on this. They brought up this virtual reality to show our power electric station. It was actually very much accepted, and you can actually walk into the control rooms and walk around just standing in there in the job fair. So that was there were about 50 people that participated or wanted to be part of this virtual reality display that attended that as well. So the other thing that we had was we had 11 people from the department that were selected to do presentations, 5 presentations. The first one is our Deputy Mayor Barbara Romero did a presentation that was prepared by LADWP SWE staff, and she gave a remarkable presentation. It was a full room of people that were there to listen to her. Who runs the world? How engineers drive policy and making changes. So that's her presentation. And the other presenters was from Power System, Lori Morish and Normina. There was a presentation that was catching. That was actually took a lot of attention. That was also a full room. It's "Don't Call Me Babe." So that was the title of their presentation. It was a lot of people were related to that comment or title as well. So, and also the other one was balancing motherhood with career, and the aftermath was Jennifer Gill and Sabi Valdez gave that presentation as well. Very real, and how to balance motherhood and being in the workforce as well. Mentoring 101, and it takes one to know one, was a presentation given by Evelyn Cortez Davis, Lori Morish, Sarah, Brenda, and also Michelle, the moderator. So that was one of the best presentations. As you can see in the picture, there was full room attendees, and the question was, the line went all the way out the door at the end of the presentation. You can tell these are a combination of seasoned engineers and new engineers on the panel, giving their different perspectives and how they can build a mentorship with one another. So that was a really good presentation. And then we're in it to win. The Smart Water to Our Tap presentation was by Nicole Smith, and Vince Rivera was presented as well, a bit of a technical kind of presentation. These are all from Power and Water Systems. And the highlight, and something that we're very proud of, turned in a nomination request a while ago, and Reiko Kerr, our Assistant General Manager for Power System, got accepted or awarded the Spark Award award on that date. And as you can see, that was when she received the award. And there was LADWP was there to support her and be there at that time, starting from our general manager and our directors were also there to support her and also represent the Department of Water and Power. So the entire conference, we believe that it was a success, and we are looking forward to what comes next. Just to give you a breakdown of LADWP Society of Women Engineers, we have 185 members at this time, which is the breakdown, as you can see, 56% water, 12% joint, and 32% power. Out of that, our members include 160 engineers in STEM field, 25 of them are non-engineers, and 23 senior managers are actively involved, giving us all the support. And we at this time would like to really appreciate and thank all of you for the support that you're providing us. And also, we've provided a lot of leadership training series in the past few months for our members to help them, excel in the work environment. And looking forward in the future, we're having Bring Your Children to Work Days, which is actually the day after tomorrow. Yeah. So that's where LADWP SWE is going to have also a booth that we're going to be showing some of the activities, electrical power and the power wind turbine, and also seismic related kind of activities with the students there. And membership drive will be in December, and we will have our annual member appreciation luncheon coming end of January. We'll be looking forward to that as well. There will be some nominations that we'll give to people in the department. Just one thing I want to mention, 2020 conference is going to be in New Orleans, but in 2023, they just announced that this conference that we just had will be in Los Angeles. So we will be ready and geared up to that, to be present in more and bring more women engineers to the department. Thank you, everyone.
I would like to ask all the folks that participated in the conference, in the aspects of it all, wearing our team shirts, please stand.
Well, we have gotten to know you over the past few months, if not a little bit longer. Your presence here continues to grow, as well as your prominence. And I know that, and I let my colleagues speak for themselves, but I know that every member of this board is exceptionally proud of you and the work that you do and the success of SWE. And the fact that DWP can proudly be an organization that that has this intensity, breadth, depth, and quality of female engineers. So congratulations. Do any of my colleagues wish to?
Just very briefly. First, I couldn't be more proud and more inspired by the example that you've set and that you continue to set. I also, take note of the fact that whenever you come, you bring gifts. Good move, and thank you. And also, I just, want to say that in addition to being just beyond impressed with the level and capacity of the women at this department, I also want to take note of the tremendous way in which the men support the women and support SWE. I have been to was privileged to speak at a gathering, and at that point looked in the back of the room, and there were the men back there and making their presence known. And so I looking around the room today, seeing purple shirts on a variety of folks here, keep it up. Thank you. and you really do make my coming here even more special and enhance my commitment to this organization just by showing up and doing your work. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I also want to echo the commissioners' congratulations to all of you. I'm very humbled and privileged to be serving on the board as a woman, as a person of color, and lifting up voices. My hope is that this success story translates to other non-traditional jobs here at DWP, to lift up those women and make sure that they are coached and mentored and trained. Thank you.
Marty?
Nope, that's it. Thank you very much, and I'm glad you're as proud as I am to have such a remarkable set of folks here working with us, and they are there's a lot of folks that have already arrived, a lot of up-and-comers, so more to come in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You want me to finish mine then?
Yeah.
Now they can all go
Those
out
of
and
you
fix the
who
road.
are further away, feel free to move up a little closer.
So, just a couple other things that kind of pale in comparison to that, but they're still important nonetheless. So, first of all, on November 6th, the City Council approved the Eland's solar and energy storage project. So, that is on its way to construction. It'll become a reality, hopefully, in short order. And our Vice President, Commissioner Cynthia McLean-Hill, spoke on our behalf. Thank you very much for stepping in and handling that. And it was a successful day at City Council, and as well as the mayor's announcement afterwards. Related to that, last Friday we celebrated the commissioning of Springbok 3, which is a 90 megawatt utility scale solar project in Mojave Desert. And it's the ribbon cutting marked the completion of Springbok 1, 2, and 3. So combined is a generating capacity of 350 megawatts of solar. So that's now fully online. And then last but certainly not least, our new commissioner, Nicole Neiman Brady, was approved by council about a week and a half ago, and she'll be here at our next meeting in December. We will have a little reception for her beforehand for the board meeting. She told me she's sorry she couldn't make this meeting, but she had prior commitments to that, but she's excited and anxious to get started and really looking forward to joining the group. So with that, that's my report.
Nice report, Marty. Okay, we go to public comment. Just administratively, we have 18 public comment cards. In light of that, I think it's appropriate to reduce the individual time to 1 minute. Obviously, we're very, very pleased to have you here and looking forward to all of what you have to say. To the extent that what you want to say has already been said by others, don't feel the need to repeat it, but if you wish to, that's fine also. So, Susie, go ahead and call the public comment speakers.
Jennifer Laisney.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Levy-Zelazny. I represent Altaloma Elementary School, a very small neighborhood school in Mid-City. We are 100% Title I, and I'm here to ask for what I want, which is environmental justice for my students. We have a blacktop. 16 years ago, I started at my school, and a student came up to me on the first day and said, "We have no grass. We have no grass. We have flooding when it rains, and we have no solar power." And it might seem odd for a little tiny school to come to a big board and ask for what we want, but I believe in asking for what and teaching my kids to ask for what they want and need. And we would like to be a pilot school. When the Green New Deal money comes in, I want you to know our name, and I want you to come to my school, and I want you to help us get the solar and get the water containment and get our soccer field that's real grass, that doesn't just turn brown after the ribbon cutting. And I believe that if you could come and invest in our school to become a green, truly green, sustainable school for the mental and physical health of our students, if you could do it at our school, you could do it anywhere. If you can do it in the middle of the city, it'll be easy to do throughout the city. And that's what I came to ask for. Altaloma Elementary School, Mid-City, Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Evan Gary, followed by Eric Eilenberger.
Hi, my name's Evan. I represent the Democratic Socialist Climate Justice Committee. I read the news, I get depressed, but last time I was here, you all approved ELAND, and that was amazing. And so I want to come back and express my gratitude. And I know that as you consider what to do about the Intermountain plant, you're going to be looking at the costs. I would just like to ask you to please consider all of the costs. Consider the healthcare costs of the people that will be exposed to the fossil fuel pollution. Consider the costs of all the people from the climate crisis who are going to be dealing with diseases that have been locked in the permafrost and are now being released, such as the bubonic plague in China. Russia saw anthrax and all that stuff. And right here in California with wildfires, you all are familiar with the severity of the climate crisis. And I just ask that you please consider all of the costs as you make these decisions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eric Eilenberger. I am ratepayer 04600051000. Thank you very much for hearing from me. I don't have to tell you at the moment that privately held utility companies are not particularly popular, which is why I'm very proud to be part of LADWP. And I'm very proud to have my voice heard, so thank you for that. I'm here, as some other people are, to speak about the Intermountain Power Plant. I understand that a staff review will be coming up of that. And I would like to point out that, as I understand, when that purchase power agreement was set in 2012, Senate Bill 100 had not yet been passed. That means that by 2045, the city will need to have 100% renewable energy. As I understand it, the replacement natural gas plant at Intermountain will have a usable life until 2077, which would mean that there will be 32 years that we will not be able to use this replacement plant that we're paying for. And so in the staff review, I'd like other alternatives to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Newton, followed by Daniel Gold.
What was that first name?
Carol?
Carol.
Careful.
I'm Carol Newton.
But bring the mic down
Sorry,
a little.
I'm Carol Newton, quite obviously from Democratic Socialist Los Angeles. I'm here with my allies, our brothers and sisters in labor, and I'm here primarily for my granddaughter, born last Wednesday. She deserves a future.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Commission, General Manager Adams, thank you for the opportunity and privilege to address you. My name is Danny Gold, and I'm a native Angelino and small business owner. At a recent Commission meeting, I had the opportunity to address you regarding delays getting paid for electric vehicle chargers my company installs under the Charge Up LA rebate program. Today, I'm here to further comment and inquire about the two main challenges we experience participating in the program. The first is delays in receiving payments. The second is lack of clarity on the current status of the program. With regard to delays in receiving payment for chargers we install, at the last Commission meeting, I shared with you that the lead times for receiving payment were roughly 3 months. This has increased to beyond 4 months, as one of our invoices from July 12th is still outstanding. The current lead time for receiving EV charger rebates prohibits the ability of small businesses to successfully partake in this program. The second item I would like to share with you is the lack of clear information us contractors have received on the current status of the program. On August 27th, the Commission approved new funding for the program, Resolution 020-023. allocating up to $40 million a year for 10 years, making DWP's EV charger goals the most ambitious in the country. On August 30th, DWP EV charger rebate staff shared this news with the participating contractors and general public at an event in the conference room downstairs. It was thus to our surprise that on October 31st, DWP Charge Up LA staff notified us that applications received after August 8th would not be processed because funding had not been allocated. They confirmed again on November 6th. They were still waiting, on that October 31st, staff notified us they were waiting for a signature from the general manager to allocate funding to the various programs. They confirmed again on November 6th they were still waiting for said signature, the day after I last appeared before you. Finally, I'm here today to ask the general manager respectfully and sincerely, if it has not been done in the past 2 weeks, to please provide the DWP EV charger rebate staff with the appropriate signatures and authority to resume their normal operations. If, on the other hand, the GM will not be signing for the budget before the next commission meeting, I respectfully ask that DWP clearly communicate when funds will be available, because absent funding, a small business like mine cannot continue to participate in the program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Just so the board's aware, so there's no holdup in funding at this point. We do have a staff shortage based on the fact that the programs become immensely popular. So we are adding 7 to 8 additional positions. Hopefully, in the course of adding staff, we'll also be able to automate portions of the process. Right now, it's all manually entered, and so as we automate, hopefully that'll also make it a better process. But we are adding staff. The response has been great, which is what we've asked for, but it's overwhelming the current staffing. So we're putting more people in that area.
I just have a couple of questions around that. There's no absence of funds available to pay invoices submitted relative to the rebate program, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We have a trust fund set up, and there's staff that processes these payments once they approve the application and make sure everything is installed, but that's where the delay is.
So the delay is around the processing of the payments?
The processing of the payments, but what we are looking at is we're looking at the balance of that trust fund to see if we can add more money to it so that staff has to ask for replenishments less frequently.
Right.
Okay, that's
It's
great.
kind of like a rolling account. It gets replenished, but if we add it, make it bigger, then it doesn't have to be replenished as often.
And I understand that we have been, pleasantly surprised that there's been even greater participation than we had planned for, and that we're enthusiastic and supportive of that participation. Is that right?
Yes.
Then I just want to, you said, I understand that you are, that you've indicated that you are assigning or making available more staff for processing. Is there any, do you have any expectation that we will be able to communicate to contractors who are awaiting payment as to when they can expect payment, and how quickly this backlog in processing can be addressed?
I don't have that answer yet, but as soon as we get a handle on what we think the path forward looks like, we will communicate that so people know what to expect. And I guess we haven't had a chance to look at what we think, how fast the timeline will get faster, but we will do that and communicate that so people have a realistic expectation, and then we'll continue to work to drive that number down.
Okay, I want to just underscore my significant concern with our soliciting participation, our promoting in just about every form that we can, participation in these kinds of programs, and then our inability to make payment in a timely manner, particularly as it relates to small and often local businesses who who I know can't pay their rent, can't meet payroll, can't do the things that they need to do to operate while we figure out how to staff and how to process their payment. It's just, it's a significant issue that we need to address. Is it possible to have a full report back on this at the next board meeting?
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think it requires saying, but I know that the entire board shares Vice President's concern.
Just one addition to that is that I think it's a good opportunity to also look at the processes to make sure that it's streamlined, easy to understand, so that then our customers will benefit more for that, especially our small business entrepreneurs.
Okay, Susie.
Lisa Hart, followed by Lynn Wang.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Hart. I'm with the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance. We are working toward 100% clean, renewable energy by 2030. And our advocacy committee is very supportive of this idea of revisiting a gas plant at the Intermountain site. For me personally, it's really very simple. I just don't think that at this point in the climate crisis, it makes sense at all to build a gas plant anywhere. And we have alternatives, and so I hope we can embrace them. And please do let us know how we can help. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Lynn Wong. I'm with the Sunrise Movement Los Angeles, and I would like to speak out about Intermountain Power Plant and why I believe that we should entertain renewable options at Intermountain. I feel like this city has a lot of examples of cynical logic, of cynical reasoning and design. I drive around a lot, like 20 miles a day, so I see like a lot of parts of the city, and I constantly feel like there are times where we basically settle on certain options because we believe there's nothing better. But that's why it gives me a great deal of hope that this committee has decided to go forward with the ELAN project and is considering renewables at Intermountain, because it shows me that we are privileging in this time of crisis, rather than cynical logic, hopeful logic, proactive logic. We're thinking not of what we want to avoid, but we're thinking of the world we actively and proactively want to build. I really want to encourage us to think about renewables at Intermountain, not just because it makes financial, logistical, social sense, but because it's just a new, bold, hopeful direction for our city to be going in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara Hensley, followed by John Karen.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Barbara Hensley. I'm the chair of the Sierra Club Regional Group here. I represent over 40,000 Sierra Club members in our area. And I want to first thank you for the ELAN deal. And I won't repeat what people are saying about Intermountain, but I do want to talk about the need for the Commission to move forward on shutting down 3 power plants, Scattergood, Harbor, and Haynes. It's time, just like addiction to tobacco or alcoholism, our addiction to dirty fuels is killing us, and more than that, it's killing the planet, and it's killing our children's futures. So I would ask very much that we start with a plan and get that moving. I think it's been pending since February, and let's do this for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's John Karen. I'm a member of Sunrise Movement LA. I'll try not to repeat too much of what people have said, but I would urge the board to consider an option for 100% renewable energy and storage project at Intermountain rather than the current plan. We have the support of numerous organizations around this, both here and in Utah. And we need to make sure that going forward we focus on the community in Utah and make sure that there's a just transition for workers there. As it stands, this current plan to build a new gas plant would get rid of hundreds of jobs. So instead we need to include those workers in the decision-making process and generate good union jobs in clean energy. This will all be a boon for LA as well, especially if we invest in energy efficiency throughout the city like we know we can. And all of this is possible and necessary. So thank you all very much.
Vicky Kirschenbaum, followed by Amanda Pantoya.
Hi, Hi, thank you. My name is Vicki Kirschenbaum. Also, I urge the board to reject the proposal to repower Intermountain as a gas plant. I wanted to add one other factor. I'm on the Sustainable Burbank Commission. I know our city was pushing to reject this plant, and we're kind of under the thumb of LADWP, and we really need you guys to act and put renewables at that site. And it was presented at the presentation in Burbank that LADWP was planning to build the gas plant and then eventually convert to hydrogen generated from renewables. And I just want to urge you to really take a good look at that. This is a false promise. Hydrogen is extremely expensive, extremely flammable. Hydrogen generated from renewables has never been used to run a utility scale plant. So let's protect the environment and let's save money, reject gas and hydrogen. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Amanda Pantoja. I work with Food and Water Action, and I'm here to talk about the Intermountain Power Plant. We cannot rely on fossil fuel energies any longer. Investing in gas-fired power plants directly contradicts with LA's plan to get to 100% renewable energy. Thus, we would be setting our city up for failure if we consider prolonging our usage of fossil fuels with IPP. Instead, let's go towards the path of success, reliability, and justice. That is renewable energy. I urge the board to replace Intermountain Power Plant with a renewable energy project, and for the final plan to also work closely with stakeholders in Utah to have a fair and just transition for workers and the community. Thank you.
Jasmine Vargas, followed by Nicole Levin.
Hello, I'm Jasmine Vargas with Food and Water Action, but also you've seen me up here plenty of times. So I want to first thank you for your support on ELAN. This is a really great step forward for our city and the utility. However, it strikes me that we're up here and we come to every board meeting that we can to speak on these issues of the climate crisis and of workers and a just transition and energy efficiency for low-income people and renters, all things that we really care about, because we know that when we're talking about massive transformation in the size that we're talking about, we need to bring everybody with us. So I think about what other opportunities we have to actually voice our concerns and speak to this issue. We can rally in front of LADWP all we want. We can go to City Hall. We can knock on the mayor's door. But I think what we really deserve is a say in how the Department of Water and Power uses their energy. So I urge you to think about bringing back the SLTRP, the Strategic Long-Term Resource Plan for 2020. Right now the plans are to wait until the 100% renewable study and then do it in 2021. And I think that if you really want public commitment to this plan, you should give the public the one public opportunity that they have to speak to these issues, and that is the SLTRP for 2020. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole Levin, and I'm here with Food and Water Action, as well as Sunrise Movement. My parents are currently in Northern California, and they just got a text from PG&E saying that their power would be shut down. Today, I am very thankful to be a part of the largest public utility in the country. Thank you for having us as well. That said, I do very much feel that the public does not support a new fossil fuel plant in Utah. 77%, I work on a lot of college campuses, and a lot of the students cannot be here because they're in class. But I can comfortably say that they would also ask to review more environmental options and also to further invest in the local programs that improve energy efficiency in multifamily low-income housing, as well as the shared solar and HYPE programs. These are wonderful programs, and as we move forward to make sure that our energy, our out-of-state energy is clean, we also really need to work on local energy and local renewable energy and improve our energy efficiency. Thank you so much.
Ethan Sensor, followed by Emily Spokes.
Hello, thank you. My name is Ethan Sensor with Food and Water Action. Thank you for having me. I noticed in the video that we watched about the We19 conference on women engineers, the motto was, "We live, we learn, we lead." Earlier this year, I was downstairs with some of you all when Mayor Garcetti declared the beginning of the end of natural gas. And that was because we're already living right now through the consequences of climate change, through fires, through drought. We live next to dangerous infrastructure, through gas line explosions and blowouts, which have poisoned our communities, right? We've lived and we've learned. We've learned that there are better solutions out there: energy storage, energy efficiency, distributed generation, demand response. Burbank Water and Power has suggested we could be using the IPP site for pumped air storage or a possible wind power plant. These are things we could look at. So we've lived, we've learned, it's time for us to lead by showing how instances like this can be opportunities for energy democracy, how we can continue to have energy projects with strong labor agreements, and how we can continue our commitment towards environmental justice by saying that if we don't want gas in our backyard, it shouldn't be somewhere else as well. So I would encourage us to have this conversation. I would also encourage us to have the SLTOP process in 2020 to have that conversation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm so happy to see so many women in this room, and I can't believe today's the day that we showed up to this meeting to talk, because it was so encouraging to see the way that you are celebrating women in your organization. My husband is an electrical engineer, and I listen to him daily talking about his sustainability component within his company, and without a very specific plan on what Mayor Garcetti has suggested, I just see a big nightmare for all of your engineers trying to figure out how to change to the next, how to keep powering everybody along the way. And I would really like to encourage that that you all have a very specific plan for us as soon as possible for everybody's benefit. Carolina is also a member of our group, the NELA Climate Collective, and we bring our kids to things like this because our kids can't even play outside sometimes. Some of the outdoor child care facilities can't even accommodate parents that are working because of the air quality levels. And I just want to reiterate everything that everyone has already said. It's time, the time is now, and you have a great opportunity for innovation. And in a room full of so many powerful women, I know it's possible. Thank you.
Alyssa Bell, followed by Lucy Garcia.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Bell, and I'm here in part as a founding member of the NELA Climate Collective, which is a group of mothers and women who have seen the direct effect that the climate crisis has had upon our children. And I'm also here very much in the same capacity as a mother. I have a 3-year-old who can't be here to raise his own voice, and so I'm here to raise it for him. He's a child who spends his time painting pictures of fires. And that breaks my heart every day that I see it. And I can promise you that the thousands of women who I'm connected to do not want fossil fuels to power our power plants. And they want a concrete plan towards a truly sustainable and renewable future for themselves, for their children, and for their children's children. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Lucy Garcia, and I am now a retired science teacher from LAUSD. I was looking at these women and trying to see if there was a student of mine there. No such luck. The one, I've been here twice before. One was almost 10 years ago, where as a member of Sierra Clubs Beyond Coal, and we were giving you the support that you needed to get that, to shut down the coal-fired aspect of the power plant over there, the Intermountain Power Plant. It is heartbreaking to me to think that we are going to go back on that, go halfway on that, take half measures on that. We have to go completely fossil fuel free on that. Another time that I came here, I talked about my granddaughter, who lived at that time around the corner from the Valley Generating Station, which most people don't know of, but it is also another gas-fired power plant. I think it's 600 megawatts I don't know. Anyway, that it produces. It has to be replaced too. This is right in the middle of the Northeast Valley, and my granddaughter, who's just the most happy person that you could ever expect was coughing and coughing and coughing when she lived around the corner from that. Obviously, this is not the only polluting thing there in Pacoima, but when we pulled her out of there, and she lives in Chatsworth now, the cough went away. She didn't have to be treated anymore. But then came the fires. So if you're going to lead this thing, lead it all the way, not halfway. Let's get that Valley Station shut down and replaced. Let's get Intermountain Power Plant shut down and replaced. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Jessica Craven, followed by Daniel Cagle.
Okay, hi, my name is Jessica Craven. I am a elder statesperson member of the Sunrise Movement because I'm too old to be in it, but I support them enormously. I am also a member of the NELA Climate Collective and Climate Hawk. I vote for climate people who address the climate change with the urgency with which it deserves to be treated. I'm also a delegate to the California Democratic Party. I'm on the Platform Committee, and I'm on the Energy and Environment Subplank Committee. We just fought very, very hard to get the Green New Deal added to the California Democratic Party platform. It was not easy, you'd be surprised, but we did. And I am also a mom, the most important job I have, and I'm a PTA president at a Los Angeles Unified Public School. And on Halloween this year, we had our first ever indoor Halloween parade. It's because the air quality was so bad the kids could not be outside. My daughter takes basketball outside on Friday afternoons, and about 4 or 5 times in the last couple of months, we have had to cancel class because the air quality was too bad for my kid to play outside. And we are fortunate people. Environmental justice is critical, and I will close by saying that I know that Eric Garcetti has said that we only maybe will open this plant because we need to get through the interim period, and it will be the death cough of gas-based electricity generation. No, what's going to be the death cough is that if we keep taking half measures like this and opening gas-powered plants when we need to go to renewables now with urgency. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Dan Kegel. I'm the advocacy chair for the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, but I'm speaking on my own here. The key question about how to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions at Intermountain beyond currently planned is the transmission line. Let me give you a timeline of events as I understand them. In June 2018, at the board meeting to approve the repowering, staff said at least a 600 megawatt gas plant was needed because the HVDC line to LA could not operate with less than 600 megawatts at all times. In November 2018, 5 months later, ABB, the same company that built and later refurbished that line, announced it was providing VSC HVDC converters for a 3,000 megawatt project to supply the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics with renewable energy. In July 2019, Sammy Roth's article in the LA Times pointed out that these VSC HVDC lines or converters could operate down to much lower power levels, reducing the need for a large gas plant. That's what kicked off the Sunrise guys, I think. And in September 2019, y'all approved Elan Solar, which showed that solar could be cheaper and dispatchable, and cheaper than gas. And finally, today, Sunrise is here to ask you to rethink the project and use the newly available technology to reduce the project's greenhouse gas emissions and avoid spending $1 billion on a plant that may be obsolete before it begins operation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sylvia Ramirez.
Good morning. I'm back. I was here last meeting. I've been coming here since October the 8th. I know and I understand these meetings are the address to the public concerns, and I believe this is a public concern because throughout the past weeks, I have met customers that had their bill go up high as the $100 until the services they can discontinue. Companies like telephone company, internet, if other services, if you don't pay your services, they discontinue your services. Why would Water and Power be an exception? Why would Water and Power wait years to disconnect services? I've been coming here. I want my services to be back on my property. Like I explained myself last time I was here, I just barely got my property through my divorce 5 months ago. I was legally separated. I got my papers legally signed by judge. I was legally separated in 2007. 5 months ago, I just got my divorce. I got my property back. The people who was living on the property own a huge amount of money on this property. Now, because I own the property, they want me to pay the money. I can't. I need someone to help me out. I'm just a regular person. I'm here to encourage Water and Power to improve their customer service and topple the abuse in the billing system that only affects us, working class people. I need help. I hope this problem will be corrected prior to my next meeting, because I will be back if nothing has been done. I haven't received a phone call since the last two weeks that I was here. Didn't receive a phone call. The only phone call that I received was on the 14th, last week, from the lady named Maria Castañeda. She told me to pay $15,315 to connect the services back. I never opened an account with Water and Power. I never signed a contract with Water and Power. My bill is not on my name is not on those bills. I need help. How can I get my services back? That's what I said to Ms. Castañeda when she gave me the amount that I need to pay. I told her to send it to me and write it, because I will dispute it. And I'll be back, and I told her that I was going to be back in the meeting. I never heard from her anymore. She said she was going to call me back, and I haven't received a phone call from nobody else from Water and Power. This is my third meeting. I don't know what to do. I was hoping I was going to get someone last time I was here. Like I said, I've been coming here since October the 8th. My information is there. I received phone calls from Anthony Maxine, Maria Castañeda, but the same thing is the same thing who Anthony Maxine and Maria Castañeda said. You're the owner. You're responsible for the bill. And I explained to them again, I never opened an account with Water and Power. I just gained my property 5 months ago. I was legally separated in 2007. I got my legal papers here, signed by the judge. What else can I do? Who can I talk to?
My understanding is that we've been working with the customer on this. I'd be glad to brief the board in closed session, but I believe there's someone from customer services here today who is interested to talk to her further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will be back to let you know what happened. I appreciate this.
This concludes public speaking.
On behalf of the board, I want to thank all of you for coming and participating. I thought your testimony was thoughtful, concise, very effective, and much appreciated. Thank you. General Manager, have you delivered your report?
Yes, I did, sir. I'm all done.
Comments from commissioners. Commissioner Broad.
Thank
We'll go in order of seniority.
It's a nice way to put it.
Seniority on the board.
Okay. Thank you.
I took it to mean that. So.
You took it that way? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I'd like to emphasize what our President Mel Levine just said, that thank you very much to all the people who came here today. It's clear that you care about the environment and the future, and we really do appreciate you taking the time to come here and tell us your thoughts. On another subject, I wanted to discuss the rebates for the EV chargers. and the fact that the rebates are so late in being paid. I've heard from many people who have applied for the rebates and they haven't gotten them yet. That they're either small business owners or they're just residents in our communities and took advantage of the rebates, got an electric car, and now they're waiting 3 months, 6 months, even 9 months to get the rebates. So I think that this is really an item of concern, that we certainly don't want that as on our reputation that we're late in paying for the rebates. And I appreciate that our general manager, Marty Adams, is going to look into that. And I think that we really do need to have a report as to when these rebates are being paid, because it's not a good situation. Thank you.
Next in seniority is our vice president. Do you have any
I'm
comments?
good.
And actually,
That happened pretty fast.
you have seniority over our absent
Yes,
members.
I love that. Waiting for Nicole. And you're going to assign her to committees, too. So I just want to thank Erin Henning and her team for hosting the training and graduation of the 6th Annual Small Business Academy in partnership with the Public Works Department, airports, and the harbor departments. I was privileged to speak at the opening and the graduation ceremony for the graduates. And these combined efforts really help these graduates with tools to help them become an integral part of the contracting community and ensure that the opportunities are made available to women, minority, disabled, veteran, and LGBTQ-owned businesses. So thank you for that, Erin, and please thank your team on behalf of our board. So thank you. The other project I want to really talk about, and I wanted to get the attention of our general manager, is that the holidays are coming and we have low-income customers that cannot pay their bills because they need more money in their pocket for holiday gift giving and that. And when I was the director for low-income customer service, I would have this interim share project fundraising to help with low-income customers and help pay for their bills during the holidays for up to $100. So that's a patch. That's a thing that we could do on the interim. But in the meantime, I'd like to see, and this is has something to do with our customer bill. We used to be able to on our bill, donate a certain amount of money for our customers who are most in need, for the ones that really can't pay their bills. We're talking about folks that are in danger of being shut off because they can't pay their bills. So in those dire needs during emergency, where do we get that money? And the donations during the time that we had that on our bill prior to the CCB billing issue, that was taken away. And I was told at that time that that cannot be given any priority because of the CCB. But I think now that we have a new person overseeing our CCB billing, that we could take that into consideration again and really make it as easy and streamlined, because Edison does that for their customers and they're able to generate enough money and not just, be saddled with every so often have this sort of like fundraising for them. So I would appreciate if the general manager and customer services can develop a plan to institute something like that again and have that on our bill, whether they can pay by credit card or credit it to allow that it be added to a certain amount to their bill or not. Okay, so that's just my ask for the holiday. And then talking about low income, I just want to give you something here that a project by the Liberty Hill Foundation. And this is talking about residential resources for low income, where they talk about the different programs, including LADWP programs, whether they're financial assistance or rebates. Our EV rebates are here. It's so easy, it's streamlined. They have a website that you can access. This is something that we need. It's sort of like a hub of information for our residents here in Los Angeles. And it not only includes LADWP programs, but also that of the gas company, I believe. So I want to just distribute this. It's by Empower, and it's a coalition in the LA County, and it's funded by the Liberty Hill Foundation. I was privileged enough to participate in their first round of meetings to talk to them about the LADWP financial assistance programs and rebates. So thank you.
Thank you. Ratepayer advocate.
No comments unless needed on specific items today.
Okay. Susie, discussion with neighborhood council representatives on any neighborhood council resolution or community impact statement filed with the city clerk which relate to any agenda item listed or being considered on this agenda for the Water and Power Board.
A community impact statement from the following neighborhood councils were received: Historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council and Los Feliz Neighborhood Council, and there is one speaker.
Okay, let's call that speaker. I think I see the speaker.
I assume that's me?
Correct.
Great. Hello, board members. My name is Tom Pike. I represent the Los Feliz Neighborhood Council. Thank you for hearing from us, and thank you for your leadership on Elon. The Los Feliz Neighborhood Council is part of a coalition that has concerns with the plan to build a gas-fired power plant at Intermountain. The plan has issues with respect to carbon emissions, fiscal soundness, and a negative impact on the economy of the local community in Utah. Excuse me. The plan to build a gas plant should be paused while alternatives are given serious consideration. In 2020, NREL is due to complete their 100% renewable study for Los Angeles, but we do not even need to wait until then to request RFPs to build the replacement as an all-renewable, all-storage project. We're currently living with the early consequences of climate change. Wildfires are getting worse every year in Los Angeles and Glendale. I encourage you to read the letter that the Neighborhood Council sent this board, as that goes into much more detail and cites scientific studies to this point. Our city has declared a state of climate emergency and describes combating climate change as, quote, one of the most vitally important issues facing the city of Los Angeles. So literally the least we can do is decline to build new fossil fuel infrastructure. There are also reasons to believe that the gas plant is simply just a bad investment. As the state of California has passed a renewable portfolio standard of 100% carbon neutral electricity by 2045, the gas plant at the Intermountain site, which was originally slated to operate through 2077, can no longer legally do so for 32 years of its intended lifestyle, which has implications for the fiscal health of our $1.7 billion investment. Citing concerns about SB 100 compliance, the cities of Anaheim, Riverside, and Pasadena have opted not to participate in stakeholders at the gas plant. The city of Los Angeles has set goals of 80% renewable energy and 3,000 megawatts of energy storage by the mid-2030s. These goals will be hard to hit while actively constructing a new gas plant. The city of Glendale has directed Glendale Water and Power to study pathways to achieve 100% renewable electricity by 2030, a plan under which the GWP will be unable to buy power from the gas plant at Intermountain in less than 11 years, less than a quarter of the plant's intended life cycle. Glendale also recently went through a similar process with a peaker gas plant. Initially, they believed it was simply not possible to provide the generating capacity of Grayson with renewables. Community backlash prompted reinvestigation of that claim, and when GWP did their follow-up study, they revealed that it not only was possible, but a plan with mostly renewables and storage was actually $174 million cheaper. As part of mass climate demonstrations worldwide on September 20th, featuring more than 4 million protesters in 150 countries, about 10,000 demonstrators took to the streets in Los Angeles, with more than 1,000 rallying in Utah. Public opinion has turned sharply in favor of bold climate action. A 300-megawatt solar plant is currently planned for a site just 1 mile away from Intermountain, suggesting that the local solar potential, workforce, and transmission infrastructure are all capable of handling renewable projects at this scale. And a compressed energy storage system on the IPP site was considered as a possible replacement for the baseload generation of fossil fuels, but this renewable option was abandoned. It was abandoned not for technical reasons, but because of what Burbank Water and Power described as, quote, ambivalence from LADWP. Burbank would have preferred an all-renewable plan, but lacked the negotiating leverage to ensure it was built. Burbank Water and Power said in a report, quote, as a gas-fired facility, BWP's modeling suggested that the facility would be uneconomic prior to the end of its operational life. We shouldn't move forward with a gas plant that is fiscally unsound. There are also just transition concerns that I don't have time to go into detail on. Our letter goes into more detail. The coal plant provides Millard County with about 400 jobs. The gas plant would only provide 125. We hope that the stakeholders will begin negotiating a just transition with local labor, but we don't presume to speak on behalf of workers, but we urge that they should be heard. Our push to replace Intermountain with renewables has the support of a broad coalition of community leaders from both Los Angeles and Utah, including the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance, the Neighborhood Councils of Los Feliz, Eagle Rock, Olympic Park, and Silver Lake, 23 community organizations. 2 of those organizations are national. Those are Food and Water Action and Center for Biological Diversity. 11 of the organizations are located in Los Angeles, 1 is in Glendale, and the other 10 are in Utah. Public officials who have signed the letter include former LADWP Commissioner Aura Vasquez, the elected Glendale City Clerk Artie Kasakian, 2 members of the LA's Youth Climate Council the LA Mayor's Youth Council on Climate Action, and many other community leaders from Los Angeles, Glendale, and Utah. The full list, again, is in the letter we sent to the board. I understand that LADWP staff has been directed to conduct a review of the Intermountain Plan. Our coalition asks that you push your staff to make the final plan as renewable as possible. I also see that demand response is on the agenda today, and as you'll recall, the LFNC is in support of this, and thank you for bringing that to a vote today. We encourage a yes vote. As this is discussion with neighborhood council representatives and not a public comment, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask what the current status of that Intermountain review is.
I didn't hear your question.
What is the current status of the review that your staff is doing on the Intermountain Power Plant?
We are looking. Well, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the Intermountain Power Plant without getting too much detail. There's a hydrogen component, which has been brought up by some of the folks. There's a case of compressed air energy storage, hydrogen as a renewable source of energy, ultimately powering the plant solely with renewable hydrogen in the future. So there's a lot of pieces moving. They're under discussion at the state level as the state grapples with how to incorporate both green and blue hydrogen, 2 different definitions, believe it or not, into the regulations. So there's a lot of moving parts in this. Staff is looking at how this comes together. Part in the advertising for the units will make a difference as to what we get when we first start up. When we first start up the plant in 2025, it'll be on 30% renewable hydrogen capability at that point. Some of the vendors believe we could actually be at 100% renewable hydrogen capability at that point. So the plant could run as a non-polluting hydrogen gas-fired plant and actually do what we need with all the energy, all the fuel being generated by renewable energy in the desert, using the salt domes located there that we're partnering with the folks who own those as a place to store, to do energy storage. There's a lot of moving parts in development. The power plant is critical to maintaining the transmission corridor, which is over 2,400 megawatts, and is the key to the renewable hub and getting renewable energy into Southern California. So there's a lot of things being looked at this time and how this plays in. But ultimately, Intermountain Power Project will be a clean burning power plant.
So I think, just to be clear, I was the one who requested for a progress report on IPP, and I requested that it be given next month, and that was about 4 meetings ago, if I recall. So I just want to put that on record again. That I did request for a progress report on the IPP so that we are all going to be on the same page in terms of where we are. And thank you for that, Marty.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll wrap it up then. Thank you for your response. We don't, in the letter, we're agnostic on the technology used. You have smart engineers. We're not energy experts. I'm cautious about hydrogen. I know that hydrogen, as it's produced today, is done with natural gas. Anyway, I just encourage you to look at all options, and thank you very much for your response, for your work on demand response, and for Eland, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. If I could give the board just a quick briefing, because it's a great question. So right now, a lot of hydrogen is produced with natural gas. That's actually called blue hydrogen. There is hydrogen produced from water by electrolysis, which is green, which it seems the colors are backwards, but that's besides the point. So green hydrogen, there is a water source available, ample water source available at Utah. The technology exists, the energy exists to actually split hydrogen. It's one of the few places in the country where salt domes exist to store a year or more's worth of fuel. So it's possible to generate clean fuel and have it stored safely immediately adjacent to the site and run a power plant in the way that a power system needs to run a power plant to meet its needs with renewable energy, with zero pollution, and have this plant up and running. That is the long-term goal and the plan for this. And at the same time, incorporating more renewables. Somebody mentioned wind, there's solar, there's additional wind being looked at from Wyoming, potentially coming into that site. So it is a renewable energy hub, as well as a place that we can operate the system with reliability. So it's very exciting what's going on. And Hydrogen technology is really developing. California's trying to grapple with it. We are far behind Australia and Europe, where hydrogen is already a mix in the fuel. This is something that people are doing currently. A lot of Europe has a decent percentage of hydrogen already in the mix. And so we're well behind the curve. Legislators in California recognize that we are slow to adopt technologies that the rest of the world is using. And we have vendors in Germany and Japan that are dealing with NOx issues with hydrogen. And we're trying to catch up in this area with the rest of the world. And we trying to get back to being an energy leader in this sphere. So we'll be there. IPP is the one project. It's I say it's the California project. It's the Utah project. It's the only one led by a California utility, but it's the only project in the Western United States that's got the ability to show how this works. And so we're quite excited about it.
Marty, will we get a fuller report in response?
Yes, you will.
Wonderful. Thank you. And that is very exciting.
Yeah, we can have a regular power plant that has 0 emissions.
Pretty good. Okay, we move to a review of items to be pulled for public comment. Before we do that, I understand there's a motion to defer, or there's desire to be a motion to defer item 22. I move to defer item 22. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Aye. It's deferred. So that leaves for consideration or consent items 11 through 21 and items 23 and 24. We have a speaker card on item 15, so we'll remove that. Do any commissioners wish to remove any of the other items for consideration?
Item 21 for discussion.
Item 21. Okay.
It's not 21 anymore, I don't think. Is it?
The
Which one?
proprietary consumer.
It is. Okay.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. So item 21 is removed. Item 15 is removed. Any others? So is there a motion to approve items 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, and 24?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those are all approved, and we will hear items 15 and 21. Starting with item 15, there's a speaker card, so Susie, please call the speaker on item 15.
Scott Langley.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Scott Langley. I'm a native Angelino and Los Angeles resident. I'm here to talk or ask questions and address concerns on the approval of the Clean Grid LA Demand Response Program Participation Agreement with Southern California Public Power Authority. I believe the design of this plan is logical. However, at this time, I would ask that the board vote no, and for the following reasons. One is that I don't believe, as it's currently crafted, the program is equitable, primarily because it's giving single-family homeowners a bonus of $120 and an annual incentive of $60 to participate in a program that's only designed for homeowners. 65%, a substantial majority of the residents of Los Angeles are renters and not able to install a thermostat in their residences to take advantage of this incentive. Additionally, I'm guessing that the program is being funded by reserves that are contributed to by both renters and single-family homeowners. So we have a situation where the majority is subsidizing a few. I also believe that the goal of 25 megawatts is very low, and it's not guaranteed as it's currently constructed. The award has an exclusive period of time with the vendor, yet there's no guarantee for attaining the desired 25 megawatts. So basically, DWP is giving away $12 million without a guarantee. I think in other areas of the country, we have seen guarantees for one and an attainment of 100 megawatts. And so I think we need to be shooting a lot higher and have a guarantee in this regard. The other concern that I wanted to address is the way that the RFP was procured through the Southern California Public Power Authority, and not through the Department of Water and Power's own procurement department. My concern is that the Southern California Public Power Authority is currently under review by the FBI for other contracts that are procured during the same period of time. And so I'm wondering if the board will take a further look into this as you go forward. And the last concern I have is that the successful bidder, I guess, is Energy Hub, and they have proposed to have a web-based solution for customer data. I want to know if the board had ever assessed what assurances that they've received from Energy Hub on the privacy of customer information and data. And is the board convinced that the Southern California Public Power Authority is capable of understanding the complexities of protecting this customer data? Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Who will present this item?
I'd like to bring up Arash Saidi and Jason Rondu to talk about this.
My name is Jason Rondu. I'm director of the Clean Grid LA division, and I'm joined here by Arash Saidi, who manages our Distributed Energy Resource Program Development Group. And I believe we have a slide deck that will hopefully pull up, and if we don't, we can just verbally walk through it with you. Today, before you, we're looking to have the board consider one piece of our demand response portfolio, which is our residential.
There's no slides loaded.
Then there's no slides loaded?
Nothing loaded, no.
Okay. So we'll verbally kind of walk you through this, and if needed, we can follow up with any additional info. The demand response program, just to make sure that we're on the same page, and I think many of you understand the concept of demand response, but just to clarify, it's the utility interacting with customers in time of grid need. So up to typically about 12 times a year, we interact with currently commercial customers and let them know we need you to curtail energy, and that could be for things like emergencies like wildfires. It could be things like high heat days, or it could be regional issues that the grid is facing. And we currently do that with commercial customers to date. I believe we have about 50 megawatts of enrolled commercial customers, and we're now extending our portfolio into residential customers. Back in 2014, we determined that we needed a total portfolio of 500. And I mentioned a moment ago that we've got about 50 megawatts of commercial. 2014 was well before our goals to reach 100% renewables, and it was well before our acceleration of our renewable goals to reach targets such as 80% by 2036. And reaching high levels of demand response is very critical, in part to integrate renewable energy as well. So I say that because our 500 megawatt goal is likely, very likely to increase, an increase in a non-trivial amount. The exact amount will be pending studies such as our 100% renewable study. So the need to move quickly on programs such as these is there. The program that we are here to seek approval for is what we're calling our Bring Your Own Thermostat program. The concept behind that is customers that install smart thermostats, whether they install that on their own or through a program through DWP where they would receive a rebate, they could volunteer to subscribe to a program where there would be interaction between us and the customer. LADWP would provide an incentive for them. What we're proposing the board consider today is the contract, the partnership with Energy Hub. It's a 2-year contract for an option for 3 years, and I believe the total amount is for up to $5.5 million. And there was a comment about a total of $12 million, but that would be the total cost of the program, not including the total cost of the program, not the cost of our partnership with Energy Hub, so $5.5 million. That would include $1.2 million for the first year, $2.1 for the second year. And what this would mean is we would then begin identifying customers that already have thermostats, that already have, whether it's a Nest, Ecobee, whatever it may be, or whether it was a thermostat that LADWP actually did a direct install through a customer program. And we would offer them the opportunity to subscribe. That would be the first phase of enrollment of this program. The second phase would be targeted marketing, and we can determine where we'd want to market them based on grid needs, based on principles consistent with our equity metrics program and other principles. The program design is not complete yet. The program would not launch until next June. But what we need to do today is to secure the contract to put in place with Energy Hub to be able to begin the development of that program, begin the parameters of that program, and get that set up in time to launch for the upcoming demand response season in June of 2020. So I'll stop there and pause to see if there are any questions at that point.
I should probably know the answer to this question, but I don't. Can you describe how the thermostat would work? The smart thermostat?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to work slightly differently for each manufacturer. And that gets to the importance of having a partner such as the one that we're proposing today, who has relationships with all of the manufacturers and who can tailor the communication protocols to each manufacturer. Some of them have, say, for example, Nest, and this is probably a very crude simplification of how it works. But we would communicate to Energy Hub, who would communicate to Nest, who would then communicate to their thermostat through an existing Wi-Fi system. And then it would report back through that chain to LADWP as to the response. Now, it sounds like a lot of steps, but that typically happens in a very rapid pace.
And then does it automatically adjust the temperature based upon the climate, or what's it?
Yeah, it would automatically adjust based on the parameters of what that customer has agreed to participate in. Now, if that customer agreed to participate and they said, you know what, I'm having folks over for dinner this afternoon, they could choose to opt out, and they would have the flexibility to opt out a number of times per year. We've proposed about 3 times per year, which is fairly standard, but again, the program parameters are not yet set in stone.
Okay, I basically get it,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Jason, can you describe, just using the SCAPA process, what their involvement is or isn't actually in terms of this with us?
Yeah, so the process, as was mentioned, is through SCAPA, and so this agreement, currently right now, it's only LADWP, but it's my understanding that other utilities would have the opportunity to join in. It's my understanding that no other municipal utilities have a program such as this. So we would be the first in SCAPA to actually kind of set the example of a program such as this, a thermostat interactive program. Hopefully, as other municipal utilities start to transition, they can look to this as a potential model for them to use as well. Investor-owned utilities have done programs such as this, and they've had them for quite a while. Years ago, they had the kind of old radio frequency communication with air conditioning, where it would actually click the air conditioning off for 30 minutes and then it would go back on. And part of the reason that we had never really needed to do that with demand response is we're a vertically integrated utility. We own and control a fairly large amount of our generation. And now with the increased amount of renewables and the increased amount of variation in demand, things like demand response have become very, very important for us. And so we're having to do a little bit of catch-up, and this is part of doing that catch-up. And again, I want to emphasize that this is one piece of our demand response portfolio.
I'd like to chime in for a moment. I'm very sympathetic, particularly to the point the gentleman made with regard to equity. Our solar programs historically have kind of worked the same way that this one may in the context that you mentioned between homeowners and renters. And one of the reasons I was so pleased that this board adopted equity metrics over the course of the last few years was to try to reduce these inequities wherever we can. On this one, though, even though I am very sympathetic and want to see us act as equitably as we can in this context, we urgently need to catch up in this area. And this is a comparatively small beginning, which, as you indicated, is one of the first steps in a whole variety of larger things, 36,000 customers. And I'm willing to live with, speaking for myself at least, knowing that this is not the most equitable way to proceed, and hoping and anticipating and working to change that as we go broader. But I think it would be a mistake for us to hold up the first set of steps in moving in this direction, despite understanding that it is not done as equitably as I think any of us would prefer it to be done. So
And if I may add some commentary on top of that, I think the good news with this is the program design is not done. This sets that contractual foundation for us to build on top of that. We have the freedom to target our marketing efforts and our program design in a way that makes sense both for equity and for grid needs. I'll give an example of that. We've got a distributing station on the east side that we don't have any ability to expand right now. There's literally no physical space for us to expand to. And it would be much more simple for us to target the community surrounding that distributing station and try to penetrate as many of these thermostats as we could before thinking about acquiring new land adjacent to that. And so that's one example where we can address grid needs and potential equity issues as well.
Good.
There's, I will say that the first 3 points that were made by the gentleman earlier, we totally agree with. I think the equity point we absolutely agree with, and I think that a lesson learned from our solar programs was if we wait too much time before addressing issues like equity, then we're constantly playing catch up there, and I don't think we have any intention of doing that here. The second is 25 megawatts was characterized as low, and we agree with that. We think we need to ramp the program up. Not necessarily this program, but that portfolio we do need to ramp up. We'll see how this goes. If this proves to continue to be very cost effective, which we absolutely think it is, then we will ramp it up. And the third one was exclusivity with the vendor. There is not exclusivity in terms of demand response with this vendor. For this particular program, there is for a short period of time. But the reason exclusivity is so important for us as a utility strategically is we can't be reliant on one specific vendor or one specific technology. We absolutely need a portfolio. So the point that the gentleman made, I think, is very well taken, and we are absolutely aware of that, and that's why we can't have this one program account for our overall portfolio. We have to get it in different slices. So much of what was said, we absolutely agree with.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that, because I also thought the points he made were very solid and thoughtful. So I appreciate hearing your views on those as well. Commissioner Broad.
Thank you. I have a question about how does the smart meter interface with the people that have this Alexa turn down the thermostat, set it at 71 or whatever.
Yeah.
More and more people are doing that. So how does that all work together?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I'm clear on terminology, and if I misspoke a second ago and said smart meter, my apologies. It would be a smart thermostat. This would be different from a smart meter. This program does not rely on smart metering to be effective, so I just want to clarify that, and my apologies if I said smart meter earlier. It's my understanding, and I'm not an expert in this technology at all, it's my understanding that the Alexa interface would not prohibit or influence or otherwise complicate this program. I would speculate that maybe they would make it convenient for customers to say, hey, I want to opt out. Alexa, I want to opt out from DWP's program today. I have guests over and it's too hot. I would that's how I would guess that it would work. Arash, I don't know if you've got any other knowledge beyond that.
That's consistent with what I'm understanding as well.
Okay. Again, that's something that we would have to track and just see. Maybe it would offer additional opportunities. I don't know.
So what you're saying is someone may not need Alexa?
No, so they would simply need a
Poor
smart
Alexa.
Yeah, they would. I mean, Amazon would tell you need Alexa. I would say that you just need.
Amazon would tell you that you need.
I would tell you that you just need a smart thermostat that's compatible with our program, and our goal is to make it compatible with as many smart thermostats as possible.
And just to add, the two ways in which one can control this smart thermostat. One would be a smart mobile device, and you would install the Nest app. And then the other one is manually going to the dial and turning it to the direction you want. You'd get the message in both instances saying, would you like to opt out? And at that point, you'd make that decision of opting out.
Would you like to opt out?
Meaning, if there was a DR event and we need someone to participate in that program, at that moment, you have the option to say, you know what, on second thought, I want the air conditioning to be cool, so I don't want to participate today, right?
And Alexa understands that?
So we would have to, go back to Amazon to figure out. For now, I would say the two mediums in which the customer would receive the message is one is through an app, whether it's an Android or an Apple device, and then the other one is physically going to the dial, the thermostat, and turning it, and that's when you'll get the prompt saying, at this point, you're opting out. Are you okay with that? You'll get a confirmation, and then you'll choose to opt out at that point.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Riz?
Thank you. I just want to make it clear that the most basic demand response programs are structured to really avoid blackouts and brownouts, correct? So, but in recent years, demand response has evolved into improving system reliability, and that they offer also mitigated and other ancillary services, which is really great. So hats off for now really getting involved in that. I want to emphasize the equity portion as well, and thank you for talking about it today, because we do have other programs for low income, say the AC optimization. There may be customers who want to take advantage of the smart thermostats, but their infrastructure is in need of repair. Say we have air conditioners that need a tune-up, right? We also have customers that may overlap with the SoCalGas energy savings program, where they also distributed smart thermostats for our DWP customers. So do we know how many of those are already enrolled in that program, so that you can use that database as well? And then on a bigger picture also, to really look at holistically what this DR program can offer, because we can also target and integrate it with our efforts to electrify our buildings, and probably look at, after the results of this pilot, I call it a pilot because we want to see how it's going to progress, is to look at heat pumps, right? And see if we can control that as well for heating our buildings as we electrify the buildings. So I just want to, comment on that, and please take that into consideration, because we do, as the gentleman said, we do have more multi-families in, residents than single-family ones. And if the ones that are going to take advantage of this are mostly from the single-family residents, then we're not really addressing the equity portion of it.
Understood. We will consider that.
Any other questions?
Question?
Yeah.
Comment?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. And thank you for your responsiveness and presentation to the commission. Do we have I assume the answer is yes, but do we have a systematic way of ensuring that when we're working with third parties, the privacy of consumer data that may fall in the hands of third parties as a result of our contracts?
So I can talk about the process that we went through prior to advertising and then prior to finalizing this contract. It went through our IT folks and our cybersecurity folks. Now, a lot has happened since the inception of the development of this RFP to the point to now where it potentially will be awarded. Prior to deploying anything, it will go through that process again. So we will continue to work with our IT folks, our cybersecurity folks, to make sure that we're complying with every policy that we have internally here. So the ship is not sailed on any of that whatsoever. All of that would be re-reviewed again, and if we need to, make some, tweaks, we would, be able to do that. The goal would be to not have any information that we did not have to have off-site. The reality is that for customers to be able to get enrolled, we may need some very, very basic information that would be shared under an NDA and protected under cybersecurity rules and policies that we'd have in place. But again, all of that would go through our cybersecurity and IT folks.
Okay, that's great, and I certainly wouldn't expect you to be familiar with all the details. I'm really just interested in kind of what our high-level process is. So I understand, based on that response, that we have sort of our own internal vetting with respect to information that we may release, and then we have policies or enter into some contractual protection with respect to that information. I think one of the questions, but what I understood, and just the thing that kind of caught my ear that the speaker raised was our way of either vetting or ensuring or having some contractual assurance or provision with respect to the vendor's protection of privacy and data protection. And again, you don't have to get into the details of it. I'm just curious as to whether that is a standard part of our both contracting process and vetting of third-party vendors.
Yeah, and I'm very sorry, I don't know if that part of the detail about whether or not, and let me just make sure I understand your question correctly, whether there's sort of contractual pieces that would penalize them if they did not perform in a certain manner with regards to customer information.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that answer.
Just,
yeah.
If you could just get back to me at some point, I'm just very curious about how we deal with those pieces. I mean, because again, they're sort of how we deal with our own customer information, right? But anytime we are releasing information to a third-party vendor or a third party is gaining access to information as a result of a relationship with us, I'm simply curious as to what our standards are with respect to understanding, reviewing, or somehow, what we require of them to give us comfort that their policies and practices and standards are sufficient to ensure privacy of data. That's kind of what I'm interested in understanding.
And given that outstanding question and a couple other comments and suggestions that we've received, it may make sense to address all of those at once prior to us launching this program next June. So perhaps a report back either in a written format or a report back to the board on our efforts around equity and the questions around cyber and contractual pieces as well. So if you'd like to have us do that, we can do that as well.
That's fine.
Any other questions or comments?
Comment?
Oh, Dr. Pickle.
The OPA supports going ahead with this in its form at the current time. There are lots of things we'd like to tweak about it. Some things like confidentiality of customer data are covered by page 10, section 13 of the existing contract. Whether that needs to be improved, we haven't assessed. We're late to the party when it comes to smart thermostat demand response. That got kicked up in Southern California in 2016 with the Aliso Canyon leak, with both SoCal Gas and SoCal Edison beginning special programs for that. And we were encouraging the city and DWP to move ahead in mid-2016 on this kind of a program. We're pleased to see we're moving ahead now. Does it need to be through SCAPA? Well, for full disclosure, I own a home with smart thermostats, and I'm using the SoCal Gas program within another Southern California municipal utility territory, so I'm conflicted on this, but I wish they would move ahead too. But have you gotten any indications of potential interest from any of the other SCAPA members?
I don't know what the current status of that is, but we will find out.
At least one of their customers in one of the utilities would encourage them.
I'll pass along your information.
Sounds like a groundswell.
The challenge with demand response is it has to be very standardized. And going to an outside vendor is an important aspect of that. The standards really need to be national or international, or it's too expensive to figure it out on your own. And it's important to move ahead with these standardized approaches. Energy Hub might be one of the ways, but that'll shake out this will evolve over time. Another important component is for multifamily dwellings or dwellings that are subject to third-party ownership, those become complicated. To encourage and incent performance, you have to incent different parties for different kinds of ownership structure. That takes longer. I think it's important that we do that because that's a big share of overall sales, but this is a first step. We're late to the party.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
I realized belatedly I jumped ahead of a few other items on the agenda, which we will return to after we do item 21 and before we go into closed session. So item 21, Commissioner Reyes, do you want a presentation or were there specific issues you wanted to raise?
We can address the specific issues. I think we have enough. I am only speaking for myself as I received a briefing on this one, but if my colleagues would love a presentation, how long is the presentation?
I can cut it to 10 minutes.
10 minutes? You okay with that? Okay.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Good morning, board and senior staff. Louis Carr, Chief Information Technology Officer here at LADWP, and Andrew Hurd. He's one of the information systems managers within ITS. As part of this initiative, I wanted to kind of lay the groundwork that this request for the amendment is part of a larger modernization, technology modernization effort. And I don't think this is a secret to anyone, but the second paragraph in particular, that many of our technology systems are generation old, highly customized. Many lack the ability to interface seamlessly to modern systems, and as DWP employees retire, supporting these older systems become problematic. Again, I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking a little bit about the modernization plan because it supports this request. The 5 goals that we've built around technology modernization is secure, protect, and maintain our infrastructure, align our technology roadmap processes and people, attract and develop and retain professional workforce, adopt new technologies to improve business, and improve overall customer experience and communications. None of these are, this is not necessarily in priority order. I believe all are important. In particular, the third one is extremely important to me. A number of efforts we've undertaken around talent includes the hiring efforts that we've done. Just in the time since July, we've hired over 65 employees. We've gone through the hiring process. We've attended 15 job fairs. We continue to reach out to staff, and we have a couple of contracts in place for training staff to get them up to date on the current technology. And most recently, we're working with the budget office. We have received over 20 requests for new technology as part of the new budget year. So my staff and I were going through those to assess if that's technology we already have in-house or if it's new technology, and what sort of resources will be required if the general manager so chooses to move forward with that technology. So we're going through that process now. And just to share with you, Andrew, if you could pass that way. These are some of the brochures that we distribute with our, when we go on job fairs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a little bit about the goals. These goals were developed with input from water systems, power systems, other divisions including supply chain services, financial services, CSD, and communications and marketing. We review these goals every 6 months for relevancy and alignment, and our most recent workshop to review the goals occurred in October. The enterprise resource planning system, that is targeted to be the replacement for some of our financial systems, including payroll, accounts receivables, payables, the HR system, our purchasing system, is one of the major priorities that we're undertaking this year. We will procure the system in 2020, and today is a milestone day because the RFQ, request for qualifications, will be issued later today. So in my mind, that definitely states that we are moving forward on these technologies. And measurable progress has been made. I won't go into that. I believe you have copies of that, and I'll make myself available at any time if you want to discuss the progress in more detail. Just another quick overview, major business systems that we have, common to every large company. But again, ours are a generation old, so we need to heavily invest in our technology to move these systems into a more modern state. The items there in red are the items that are targeted to be replaced with the ERP system. And again, that ERP RFQ will be issued later today. And I wanted to make sure that I give the board kind of a 6-month look ahead as we come to you guys. As it was expressed in a previous meeting, wanting to make sure that you guys see some of the things we're working on and not just at the last minute we spring contracts on you. So I've made an attempt here to put together kind of a 6-month look ahead, and whether we go into details now or I can put together a presentation for the future, I'd love to brief you on these so that, again, they're coming to you and you guys have full knowledge and full opportunity to vet them before we come to you for a vote. And having said that, I'll let Andrew talk a little bit. The specific agenda item is a request for amendment number 4 on a piece of software that we own that we use for procurement. It processes our procurement process, and Andrew has the history. He supports the system, but he also has the knowledge of how the system has evolved over the last 10 years or so.
Thank you, Louis. Good morning, Commissioners. So we'll talk about what the system is, the history of the system, our current state of procurement that is supported by our ERSP system, some alternatives that we've explored, and as Louis has alluded to earlier, what the future state for procurement is at Water and Power. So ERSP stands for Electronic Request Solicit Procure System. It was a name that DWP chose for a Canadian product. The Canadian company's name is Ogma Consulting Corporation. They are the manufacturer and sole provider of ERSP software and the maintenance and support services to operate it. Their underlying software is known as the Opportunities and Purchasing Exchange Network, or OPEN, which we'll see in a later slide. ERSP, just so you know what it is, it's a comprehensive electronic procurement system that supports the full gamut of procurement. From the moment that a stakeholder in water or power determine a need for a purchase, they submit a requisition that goes through a workflow approval process within their chain of command. It goes out to bid to our bidder community. Bid responses can be received electronically from that community. We can do question and answers during that time. We can evaluate the responses through the system. We can award, and then we can do some of the contract management functions, such as doing sub-purchase order releases, as well as doing contract renewals through the system. It's also important to note that the ERSP system, beside it supporting the purchasing operations, it is tightly integrated throughout all of the asset and financial system suite, whether that's the LA Bevon system that we participate in, putting our our bid opportunities out there, whether it's our Maximo Asset Management project or our accounts payable. It's important to note as well that since April of 2011, nearly all of the purchases that Water and Power has done have been processed successfully through ERSP. Just a little tidbit for you, in fiscal year 18-19, that amounted to $750 million that was processed through ERSP. So that's a little bit about.
There's nobody else who provides this service?
Well, this is the software that DWP is operating to support its procurement process. There are many other software companies that are available, but this is the one that has been chosen, and we'll talk about the future path in a later slide.
Yeah, but just to state.
Well, I mean, when we finish the whole process, we may have something different, but it's what we have right now. And,
Yeah,
and
what we have right now.
What supports all of Aaron's purchases.
Okay, I misunderstood the way it was framed, so.
Okay, yeah, and the purpose of the Enterprise Resource Planning Project is to put us in a position to select new software, new, more modern software.
Good.
And we're going to accelerate our presentation, so quickly get through the history.
Okay, so it's important to note that we selected the system through a competitive process back in 2007, but by late 2011, we had implemented both of the phases, and then we needed support, maintenance and support to successfully operate the system. So in 2011 and in 2012, if you want to go to the next slide, we entered into an agreement with OGMA to have that support, maintenance support, and software change services. And we've come to the board in the past many years here for a series of amendments as we've been integrating ERSP with systems like Maximo, which is our asset management, receiving and inventory system that I mentioned earlier, as well as our accounts payable system. And we're at the point now where we're looking for visibility for what's going to happen with the ERP to take the next step. So as we consider the alternatives, did you want to cover this part, or did you want me to cover this part?
Yeah, I'll quickly cover it. I think we looked at alternatives. Our recommendation is for the board to approve the contract, but we do want the board to be aware that we did take a look at alternatives. The alternatives don't put us in a stronger position to move forward faster. So the best position is to continue to move forward them for now, but I do expect that in the future we will have better options to choose from. Any particular questions on the alternatives?
Can I ask Aaron, I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. Now, this is not her program. She didn't choose this. She inherited it. And you don't have to say whether you like it or not, but I just want to, can you explain to the board just what this does in terms of, how it is integral to us doing our business purchasing, so they understand?
I think they've already talked about specifically the amount of dollar value and the number of procurements that go through the ERSP system. And it is as Andrew mentioned, from beginning to end to payment. And so I think we haven't got to where we are today. But we drastically need the support, and I think the systems would say they need the support of the system to get it back up fully functioning. It is currently working internally, and it is not working outward. And so that's the critical piece that we really need to get the system back up, the procurements moving much more quickly, and so that we can be in a better position to turn a contract around much quicker.
So I guess I have a question around the, so I'm struggling with the purpose of the, of moving forward with this request, and also, you know, if it's to get it back, are we expecting the system to perform differently and better as a result of this contract amendment?
Yes, we are currently we are working with the vendor to look at some of the deficiencies that we want to ensure that it's performing reliably. And they've been engaging with us for a couple of months already. We've received a test environment. We've identified some additional changes we want. So over the next couple of months, we expect to receive those additional changes to ensure the reliability of the system.
And what if they aren't able to perform at a level that allows us to enhance the way the system currently operates?
Aaron and I and Stephen Kwok, our Chief Information Security Officer, we've looked at a couple of alternatives, most recently a couple of weeks ago, and it does show some promise. The time to get that alternative in place is likely longer than trying to get this system in place, but we do have alternatives.
So I guess my question to you is, so how have we thought through, because we are, I mean, essentially we are dealing with a system that is not being or has not been updated in a manner that continues to keep the system current and operational, and in fact we've reduced our reliance on the system as it relates to external facing, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so, I mean, just candidly, it's not performing in a way that we would like to have it perform, and it's not performing in a manner that it's not even doing what it used to do. We interrupted the way that it's worked in the past. So we are now working with this relatively small contractor, and we are hoping that they will be able to satisfactorily upgrade their system in a way that will allow us to simply return it to its intended use. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so my question really is, you know, and what you're saying is that, you know, not the best place in the world to be, but given the range of options before us, this is the best option. This is the best path forward from our perspective at this time.
Yes, and a point to note that the company does have a newer version of the software, but the department made the decision, I guess, some time ago not to keep pace with the current version of the software, so that we find ourselves in this position because we haven't kept pace with what the company has. They have a newer version that they released maybe a year ago?
Correct.
Yes.
So if they have a newer version, does the newer version do what we want the software to do? And is there a reason that we can't simply have access to the newer version, or I'm confused?
So they're agreeing to make all of these improvements that Louis just spoke about to the version that we're on. And they are also making those same improvements to the latest version that Louis just mentioned. The reason that we haven't moved to that newer version is because there is a significant amount of change management in the organization that we need to undertake. And it was really a timing issue. We do actually need to go to the latest version of the software, and we have plans to do that. But as Aaron mentioned, we have an immediate need to restore external access to the system so that we can bring the procurement cycle times down, and as you mentioned, to bring the system back to its full functionality. So the quickest way of accomplishing that is for the company to make these improvements to the version that we're using, and then we will, as we adopt that version and restore access to the outside, we can then thoughtfully proceed to go to the latest version of the system, which will bring new functionality and prepare us to move off of this system into the future.
So basically what you just said is there's a newer version, which I guess they're still working on. Is it, am I to understand that whatever changes or upgrades they're making to our version, they're also having to make to the newer version?
That is correct. Yes. Yes.
So whatever it is that we think we need in order to make this work, they haven't proven that it works in their most recently released version either. Or they haven't made those changes to their most recently released version either.
Well, it's my understanding that they have made those changes. We're not on that version, so we're not able to validate their statement. They have other clients that are on the latest version of the system, but for us, we're validating the version that we're on, and then when we are able to evaluate the latest version, we will also do that evaluation to make sure that it meets our needs.
So we're having them make changes to an old version so that we can stay on the old version because internally we're not prepared to shift to the new version, because what you said was that would involve some change management on our side. So it's easier for us to stay on the old version than once we've paid for whatever upgrades they're making to the old version, then we'll figure out how to change to the new version.
What you said is correct, although we don't actually pay for them to make these changes to our version. We pay them a flat fee for maintenance and support, and they do all of this for that fee. As a matter of fact, this company has undertaken at their own expense a significant effort to do assessments of their software to meet our needs, and it hasn't cost us any additional amount.
Just one final question. Are there systems that perform the kind of, that have, is there an ERSP function that works in some other agency, some other, I mean, are there other systems like this that already work, both internally and externally?
There are. And there are systems that we have looked at, and as soon as CEO returns, we will discuss that. I think part of your question, to enhance Andrew's question, is moving up to the latest version with AUGMA is there's time on their side and there's time on our side. And so I don't want the systems to hear, but we anticipate that's a year from now. And we just cannot wait a year for them to fully test it in our environment, and then we test it and then roll out the change management. Because that was an option. That was something that we asked. Because if it was a difference of 30 days, we've been struggling all this time. Another 30 days wouldn't make a difference, but it's a year at a minimum.
And how long will it take what you're proposing to be in place to deal with the outside?
We're hoping that by mid-2020, if not sooner, that we can restore access, external access to the system. Another point, Commissioner McLean-Hill, is
So,
that...
wait a minute. So you're essentially saying that if it's going to take a year to do what you said, it's going to take 7 months to get to where we're trying to get if we move down this road. So...
Well, currently we're planning for March. That is our plan, but we're trying to under-promise and over-deliver. And so our initial estimates right now are March. That's certainly what we're targeting. The other comment I wanted to make, there are other systems that do a full suite of electronic procurement functionality, but as one of the slides in Alternative 3 mentions, they're mostly, if not all, cloud-based systems. That's the modern technology. People are moving to the cloud. And this organization will eventually move its enterprise applications to the cloud. But what we don't have right now, because we're working to adopt it, is an enterprise cloud governance and cloud strategy. So without that,
So when do we think we'll have that?
I'll let Louis
We're looking at December next month. I can share with you that probably 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting to include staff from water systems, power systems, supply chain, city attorney, Dirk sitting behind me, and FSO to review our second draft of our cloud policy. Things that we're trying to take into consideration, for example, from the FSO perspective, we'll be shifting more from a capital expense to an operating expense. So I'd like for Ann to weigh in on that. From the legal perspective, as was mentioned earlier about data. If we're moving our data from on our premise to someone else's server, what sort of responsibility and indemnifications will we need from those vendors? If there's a data exposure, how do they notify us? How quickly do they notify us? How do they purge our data when the contract ends? So there are a number of things that from the city attorney's perspective that we're looking at. And then from the systems perspective, the divisions, CSD, water, and power, we're talking through understanding how they want to do business, what sort of systems they want to put in the cloud. But in other words, there are a number of discussions going on, but by the end of December, because I have a third draft already, we just want to make sure it's vetted properly, but by the end of the year, that cloud policy, the cloud guidelines should be available.
I have a question here. The second paragraph and the fourth of the PowerPoint, it says that it was determined that improvements were needed. And then if you go down to the fourth, it says they've almost completed the necessary cybersecurity improvements. What does that mean, almost completed? And are you concerned about that the word almost?
They, as I may have mentioned a few minutes ago, we have received a version of the software. Our folks went through and did our testing. We didn't see everything we wanted in it, so we asked them to go back and make some additional improvements.
Okay, does that concern you that it was almost and it wasn't fully completed?
It does, and the firm had promised us, they were working with a national consulting firm to vet the software properly. So in a perfect world, by the time we get it, it should be solid. We understand that software can be complex, but nonetheless, we set an expectation of our vendors that they put the time and effort into testing their software as they should. You know, Microsoft does it, Adobe does it, all the other companies do it. So that's an expectation we should set for all of our vendors.
Okay, so you're okay with that and your expectations will be met. You feel that way?
I think we've had enough conversations with their executives that they understand that we can't put ourselves in a position. We have to be confident the software is solid and that there are alternatives out there that if we have to, we need to move forward. The ERP, that RFP, that RFQ is already out on the streets. So we are moving forward with technology. Whether they come forward or not, we expect them to, but I can't put all my eggs in that basket. I have to be able to move this organization forward with technology.
Have you articulated that to them?
Yes.
Okay. I would think then that they would say, well, we'll really work on that right away.
Right. I can't say what previous expectations were, but I want to set the bar so that vendors understand we're the customers, they're the vendors.
Yes.
It's not the other way around.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you, Louis.
Sounds like you're in a very difficult spot and you're doing the best you can under some extremely difficult circumstances.
Thank you, yes.
So for my issues, I really want to just voice out my concerns so that there's an understanding that issues like this, for example, this is a timing issue, as I mentioned before, because you're bringing it to us as if almost we don't have any alternative but to approve it at this junction. And then DWP does not own the source code. So we're in that bind because it's a proprietary system, and we need them because we need the maintenance and support. And then you're telling us that what the adverse impacts will be. Again, we don't have a choice. So what I would like to really see is a more productive mindset when it comes to software and contracts like this, that we as a board will be given enough time, because if we don't like it now, what will happen, right? What if this fails? Then you're putting it upon us to decide on something that we have very little time to really consider, and it's very important, and because then our processes that include all the requisitions and the bids and RFPs and the purchase orders are dependent on this. That's one. Number two is the customization effort. Again, it's a mindset thing that sometimes we have that tendency to over-customize our software, that when it comes to now transitioning it into an ERP, then we have an issue. Without the support of the current vendor and an integrator and the interface, we will then have to double up our costs, because we need to make sure that there is a transition to the new and better software. We're behind the 8 ball on this one, and I know our board president articulated it. It's a very tough decision for us to make. The technology is out there, but we are not as proactive again. And therefore, what I would like to see overall, in the overall scheme of things, is to really give the ERP priority. I know this has been held back because of the CCB. And because it was held back, all the other software and little systems within it are also now behind the 8 ball. So what resources do we need? I appreciate the 6-month look ahead. I think that's what we really want to see as the board, is to have a more holistic view of our systems and to keep on looking more proactively as to what those issues will be, so that then we work with the cybersecurity and not just say, oh, we have to stop the system because now we found something, but have them at the table at the very beginning. I know I'm on my soapbox, but this is something that I think earlier on, when I had a concern about another contract, I just wish and really hope and expect that our staff will be able to more productively be ahead of the curve, give us an adequate time and notice, so that we can make informed decisions.
Well put.
Thank you.
And to reiterate, the RFP or RFI for the
RFQ.
RFQ,
Yes.
one of those letters.
Yes.
The RF alphabet is going out today, correct?
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
It has been a long delay on that, and hopefully we'll be able to move quickly ahead.
Is there a motion? I move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Did I hear more than 2 ayes?
You haven't heard any opposed.
I haven't heard any opposed.
But we don't have a
I'll
majority.
take that as unanimous vote of support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Our vice president is a diplomat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's revert back to what I skipped. Item 9, Water System Monthly Report, September and October.
Yes, the item is on file, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Hearing none. There are 2 sets of minutes to approve, and we now have everybody present who was present for each of those. So first, motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting of October 8th. Levine, McLean, Hill, and Reyes present. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, they're approved. November 5th, Levine, McLean, Hill, and Barad present. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, those in favor? Aye. They're both approved. Hearing no opposition to either one, to quote the last matter. Council?
At this point, we will recess in a closed session, and in accordance with California Government Code Section 54957.1, we will report any final actions taken therein. We are in recess.
Thank you.